Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing great and fantastic and that you're all having a wonderful day. For those of you looking to secure your crypto and keep it safe, there are links to a ledger in the description below. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. A lot of dramatic news today. You're gonna see it gets pretty crazy. United States regulators. This is something I've spoken about before, which no one mentions. I think it's disgusting. It came up once before in a discussion about Ripple versus the SEC. And this is actually gross. United States regulators have secured over $19 billion in lawsuit settlements from cryptocurrency companies in the year 2024, representing nearly 2/3 of all settlements to date. The US SEC is probably one of the largest criminal organizations that we've ever heard about in a long time. And I repeat one more time, please don't assume because Gary Gensler is leaving, might be leaving, whatever, I don't know. Anyone who replaces him is going to be just as slimy. Whenever there has been a situation with cryptocurrency companies or anything of the sort, and the SEC has a problem with them, normally the thing written on the SEC website declares, this company allegedly did this. They took money from their investors and did this. They had 300,000 people using their platform, and this money was taken away from them. The SEC then files a lawsuit, and if they win or lose, there's usually some kind of a settlement. And then that money that the SEC gets does not and has not gone back to the actual people who the SEC claims were wronged. So remember when, this is why I said we heard about this, like this huge number the first time, or a fraction of it, because the SEC had taken Ripple to court for the better half of 4 years. And they said, okay, fine, let's settle this. And they said that they wanted, what was it? Wasn't it like $3 billion? I think that was the actual number. I'm pretty sure that was it. The SEC wanted billions of dollars from Ripple, the company, for actually nothing. Everything that the SEC had said, declared, brought forth during the court case was thrown out or dismissed because they didn't have an actual case. So then the SEC said, okay, fine, just whatever, just give us $3 billion and like we can move on. And Ripple was like, no. And then the SEC was like, okay, fine, just give us $100 million. And I was like, how do you go from, that's almost like cartoonish. Like in the movies where someone's like, how much is this? 10. I'll give you 7. Give me 5. I'll give you 6. Give me 8. What? Fine, give me 2. And it's like, huh? You went from $3 billion to $100 million? That means that you lied about 2.9 billion times. The money that regulators have gotten this year alone from crypto companies is $19 billion US dollars. Riddle me this. How much of that money has gone back to the people who the SEC claims were wronged? How much of that money has gone to the SEC building, which looks like some kind of James Bond villain thing, whatever that's on the screen? You don't need a building like that if you are a regulator. That money should have gone back to the people. $19 billion is actually disgusting and diabolical, because that tells me if that's just from crypto and we're a tiny sector, the SEC is probably getting around $100 billion per year. Where's that money going? Because it's not going back to the people. A report from CoinGecko revealed that the bankrupt crypto exchange FTX and its affiliated trading firm Alameda accounted for the majority of these settlements. That's $12 billion was paid to the CFTC in August. Across 8 sentences, regulators collected 78% more than in 2023, where they still got paid $10 billion US dollars. This marks a staggering 8,327% increase in settlement values compared to 2022. I wish that regulators actually regulated and weren't just complete, I can't say that word. You fill in the blank. You know exactly what's supposed to go there. If cryptocurrency companies had been given regulations and rules as to what they could and could not do, that number would have probably been maybe around like $300 million from a number of scam coins and other things that have taken place. $19 billion means you're a criminal organization and probably always will be. When I say that there's some news that should actually be more popular than other news, this is one of those things. Because people will hear this and they'll completely go, well, that's crazy. Wow. All right, so what's the next story? Wow, that's crazy. Not realizing that, like, you allow this. You allow these people to be criminals. Anywho, yeah. It's not $1 million. It's $19 billion that they got from cryptocurrency companies. Many of whom were probably like under duress. They were smaller companies. They didn't know what they were doing. There were no rules and regulations. How do we navigate this space? No one's telling us. We've called you, we've emailed you, we've showed up in person. Okay, we'll just try and follow security laws. We're being sued for $145 million. What are you talking about? Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in the news, kind of try and pay attention to this one. With self-custody and third-party custodians becoming hot topics within the crypto community, the founder of something called Time Chain Index, their name is Sani, recently posted an eye-opening image of on-chain data. I think this is coming from the Michael Saylor incident, for those of you who missed it. Michael Saylor, not too long ago, mentioned that he thinks that people who self-custody are crazy, that we should be letting banks have our Bitcoin. We should give it to them so that they can custody it, because banks are the most trustworthy things out there. It's not a joke. Look at the last couple of videos or Google it. You'll see it. He said it. So the idea of a lot of people about protecting their crypto is that he even said, like, people who put their stuff like in cold storage are crazy. And it's like, yeah. So what happens is that banks are liars, and banks have cheated and stolen and lied to the masses for 1, 2, 3, several thousand years. Like, we know historically, we've even seen, like, in Rome, like in, ancient Greece, we have like documentation that shows like banks were lying, and they were also. So the idea of like actually holding your own crypto has become a major topic. And I will say, it is probably time for a number of you to really like figure out a way to actually hold your coins. While I do believe that holding them on crypto exchanges is a very, and I air quote here, safe way to hold them. Side note, if you ever feel unsafe, contact your crypto exchange that you're using and ask them, in the event of a situation, an event, a theft on the platform, will I get my money back? That's a very big thing. However, if you happen to be in the situation where you have a larger amount of crypto than other people, I would highly suggest you have it in different places. This goes back to the conversation we've had before. If you had $100 million, you wouldn't have $100 million in your bank account. It'd be in at least 100 different places. If you are fortunate enough to have like 5 Ether, you might want to separate one ether in different places. One on a computer, one on a crypto exchange, another crypto exchange, one on a ledger, one fifth place that you can use your imagination for. It's this kind of you need to understand that this space is growing rapidly, and there are a lot of people who are evil and they're trying to get rid of, you understand what I'm saying, but take care of your money. Don't dilly-dally. Don't, kind of forget about it, because it's a very big thing. I know people who had a situation recently where they found out, and I told everyone, and I'll tell you as well, I told all of my friends, I said, if you decide to take profit, do you where are you going to be using? And they told me their exchanges, and I said, okay, see if you can take some money off. And 3 of them could not, because they had to submit further documentation as to who they were and their phone number and all these other things, and they had to do the two-factor authentication and yada yada yada. But it was on older devices as well, which was even crazier. It was on old phones that they haven't used in a while, all these old numbers and stuff. And I was like, yeah, imagine if you had panicked, you needed to do something, you couldn't have access to your coins for a week and a half. Do all this stuff now, stop being lazy, figure it out right now, so that in a couple of months or half of a year, you don't have to think of any of these things. It's already done. The snapshot revealed that Coinbase currently is holding 11% of all the Bitcoin that has ever been mined. Sani's data and insights emphasize the risks tied to such a large concentration of Bitcoin, pointing out that the massive amount held by the San Francisco company creates an enticing honeypot for cyber criminals. And I will say, we know that crypto exchanges are not like Mt. Gox anymore. This is why I said they're safer alternatives. They're not like Mt. Gox, where Mt. Gox had all their Bitcoin on one computer. What they do now is they have a hot storage and a cold storage. So the hot storage is stuff that's actually stored on the actual website in a plethora, a multitude of different wallet addresses. So it's not just one logically, and thank goodnessly. Then they also have a number of cold wallets, which are offline, which cannot be accessed by criminals or anyone until it's kind of plugged back in, that kind of idea. So the idea of custody and all these other things have gotten very big, and there's too much money to kind of not have it right at this point. When you hear about all these ETF issuers are using Coinbase as their custodian, that's what we're talking about. They don't have all of BlackRock's coins in the same wallet as Fidelity. No, there's probably more than likely, I want to say a good 100 wallets per thing. We don't know the exact number as the public, but imagine what would happen to you and your company if you lost all of BlackRock's Bitcoin. That's the point I'm trying to make. You can't really make mistakes anymore. You lose almost 500,000 Bitcoin that belongs to the strongest and most powerful company on the planet. You're going to have more problems than just a lawsuit on your hand. Yeah, anyway, this was very popular news. A lot of people were talking about it. It's basically just a reminder to a lot of people. I know sometimes it can be daunting. I know it can be exhausting to have to think about it. Every 3 months, do it once. Make sure you can access your coins on a crypto exchange. Contact your crypto company. I always want to say local crypto companies. Contact your crypto companies and ask them any questions that you have. They are holding your money. Therefore, you get to ask them questions that they're going to respond back to, so that you can also have a little bit more peace of mind. But yeah, I recommend to all my friends, and all of you as well, make sure that you don't have everything literally. Don't have all your eggs in one basket as a just in case, because things are getting weird out here. Yeah, that's the self-custody news. And also, it's Coinbase. I think Coinbase was the 3rd or 4th major crypto exchange to actually be created. I think they came out in 2012 or 2013. So when you have that kind of track record, it does make sense that they would have that many coins, or the percentage. But we need more decentralization, but that's another topic. Okay, let's move on. Also in popular news, which isn't or shouldn't be unpopular, but it's also like, okay, the National Bank of Bahrain, or Bahrain, has made a groundbreaking move, they say, by launching the first Bitcoin-linked structured investment product in the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC. This innovation, developed with ARP. Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking of AARP. I was like, AARP, really? No, it's a ARP Digital. Highlights Bahrain's leadership in fintech while offering accredited investors a secure way to tap into Bitcoin's long-term growth potential. Basically, the country has made like a Bitcoin product, kind of like it's not an ETF, but it's some type of a securitized version of Bitcoin that allows institutions to gain exposure without having to buy the actual Bitcoin themselves. I wouldn't use the term groundbreaking. I think it's interesting. Other countries within the UAE, such as Dubai, already basically have a lot of products and also have like legalized crypto and Bitcoin, and people are buying the actual physical air quote coin, if you will. It's cool. We're seeing more of these things popping up. But the problem is that a lot of these products are also like based off of fiat and not the actual like literal underlying asset themselves. So similar to futures and options, and what's the other thing that they also have, where basically someone can create a product and says like, hey, you're investing in Bitcoin, but it basically just mathematically gives you like the current price of Bitcoin and tells you that you're investing in a product that like mirrors Bitcoin's price. So if Bitcoin goes down, you lose money. If Bitcoin goes up, you gain money essentially. And then when you cash out of that product, you basically get fiat currency back, and it's like, but that wasn't really Bitcoin the entire time, which is going to be a very dramatic scenario for a lot of institutions and people in the future when they're figuring out that they're actually not buying or holding Bitcoin. Like it's just like a fiat number based kind of thing. It's similar to like a paper gold. Like years ago, like when they gave out actual physical certificates, like it literally was like, hey, this represents an ounce of gold. Here, sure you go. Here's a piece of paper. And people tried to get their money back, or their gold, like physical gold from some institutions. And they were like, here's another piece of paper, because they didn't have the actual gold that was there, which is also a, it's not even a red flag. That's also, anywho, yeah, cool. It's nice to hear, as always, that, they're not banning it or putting restrictions on it, and we're getting ever closer to hyper Bitcoinization. It's just more of a, I wouldn't say groundbreaking. Groundbreaking is like they're the first country to introduce a Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, physical ETF, ETP working in conjunction with Grayscale. Like that kind of a thing. It's like, okay, cool. Awesome. Fantasticals. Okie dokie. Let's move on. In never-ending story news, it's very sad. This is actually like a very, very old news story. It pops back up like every twice a year, maybe. I want to say twice a year. Someone by the name of James Howells, IT engineer James Howells, it says 39, we didn't need to know his age, has filed a £495 million lawsuit against the Newport Council. That's around, it has to be $600-700 million. This man has filed a lawsuit against his local council. Basically, I don't know. I was going to explain what a council was, because you don't normally say council in the States, but like everywhere else has a council. Anyway, like his local government, if you will. In a bid to recover a hard drive containing 8,000 Bitcoin that he accidentally threw away at a recycling center in 2013. Yeah, it's been over a decade. I remember when I was first looking at the space, not that I look for negative news, but I'm kind of like, what's really going on? Like, this can't be like the most amazing thing in the entire world. And this was one of the first stories that I ever read about Bitcoin. As far as I understand or legend goes, this man, James Howells, bought a new computer. Apparently he had one that was, I think it was running in his garage or garage, pinky in the air. And at some point he bought a new computer, didn't pay attention to the old one, threw it away, and then saw something on the news talking about Bitcoin, and he realized that he had been using that computer to mine Bitcoin. But because the computer was old and he just got a new one, he threw it away. And I think a couple of weeks after, he went to the local council and basically was like, hey, I need to dig through this garbage right now. And he was basically ignored. So this is why the escalation is now at £500 million, because that's probably how much money it actually, like I said, it's a very old story, but it's also sad. And now like it keeps reappearing in the news. Howell's court action is his last resort in an attempt to force the council to agree to an excavation of the dump where he believes the driver is located. Court documents reveal Howell sought damages reflecting the peak value of his Bitcoin holdings earlier this year. However, Howells insists the lawsuit is merely a strategy to persuade the council to allow an investigation of the land. You know what? Don't announce that your lawsuit is fake because you want to dig in garbage. I'd be trying to get that money back, which he is offering to do at no cost. He's basically, so that's why I said it's kind of sad. There were like there was a video that was done of this on YouTube many moons ago, where someone was talking about how landfills actually work. And basically, usually like a month after, like they have like steamrollers that kind of roll over everything, like crushing everything to make it like more compact to be able to put stuff on top of it. And basically after like a 5-year period, it's probably like gone. It's been rained on, you know, the elements, and it's been crushed more and more. Like it's not like there's only like one layer on top of it. It's been a decade. A lot of people also don't know that like machinery corrodes. So I don't know if you have any like old iPhones or old electronics, like if you open them up, like you see like the battery like pops, and like some of the wiring and stuff like isn't the same as it used to be, because over time, a lot of it is planned obsolescence, but a lot of it also is like, you know, it's just not there anymore. So this is one of those situations where originally it was probably worth like $800. And then it goes to like 12 million. And you go, okay, I got to get this money back. The saddest part is that like if Bitcoin's price, so people are expecting, for those of you who missed it, Bitcoin to like do like a 5 or 6x in price, like during this bull run. So if it's worth 500 million right now, that's around $3 billion or pounds. That essentially like, I mean, like it hurts. Like it's like a, I don't know if you guys saw, every year there's like a Bitcoin pizza day. I don't know why people are so mean-spirited to keep bringing that up every single year, because there's like a constant interview with the Bitcoin pizza guy, and he looks a little sad. Like he's, you know, I wouldn't be the happiest person on the planet if what was it? Wasn't it 10,000 Bitcoin? Yeah, I think it was. I think he paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas back in 2010, and people like commemorate it as like, so they say, the first time that someone used Bitcoin to buy something that we know of. But every year people bring it up and people interview him, and you can see, like, imagine knowing that you lost $700, $800 million on 2 pizzas. And that's with Bitcoin at this current price. If Bitcoin goes to $8 million per coin, and then it keeps going up forever, like it's, you know, it's a part of history, but it's also something that can make you go completely insane. Howells has set up a team of experts to carry out the £10 million excavation and is offering the local council 10% of the value of the coins, which could be worth tens of millions of pounds if ever found. And the article kind of goes on. It gets a little bit more sad, and he starts talking about what the council would be able to do with that money. Last point. I've lived in the UK before. I lived in London. I lived in Brixton before it was relatively remotely cool. And local councils don't actually care about anyone or the people. And I apologize if you happen to work for a council and you are the one person who actually cares. Your other constituents and everyone else in the system does not typically care about people or their, requests, especially. There's a certain point where you hear someone saying, I'm filing a lawsuit against you for $500 million. Can you please let me dig through trash? I will do it myself. And you say no? You're probably a terrible person. Yeah, I don't know how to break that to you. You're probably not very nice and not very liked in the office. Anyway, yeah, this popped up once again. I said it before. I hope he's allowed to do so. It shouldn't have taken. I mean, if we can be completely honest with ourselves, I would have dug in that trash already. I think that night when I figured it out, I would have gathered around 35 friends. Listen, I would have gathered around 35 friends, and we are digging through that trash until we find my computer. Especially a week or two after, it's still there. We would have gotten in trouble. There would have been some repercussions. Probably some, 5,000 pound fines. We're in trouble. But guess what? I now have £500 million, so we're all good. There's not a chance. I would have dug in that trash immediately. I'm like, okay, you guys said no. Okay, cool. Thank you. Have a good day. Texted my friends immediately. Hey, we have some money to find. Yep, it's in trash. I'll anyway. Yeah. No, I wouldn't have let that go. Right. I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you've all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be on this very intense planet. I do hope you're all doing well. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.